This week on The Bachelorette.
I'm falling.
I'm falling for you.
An old flame could burn it all down.
What is going on? I can't do this.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the new episode of The Bachelorette, which is Season 21, Episode 4. There is a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it. So, the group is now in New Zealand. The guys are hanging out. It wasn't even 1 minute into the episode and Sam was already talking bad about Devin. Ugh. But it's New Zealand. It's beautiful. I love how, they're basically, they've been filming this entire season internationally, which is cool. New Zealand is a beautiful place. I wish I was there right now. So as the guys are hanging out, Jenn and Jesse are at a restaurant and they're eating this massive meal, a lot of food. And Jesse reveals something to us Bachelor fans that we've been trying to know for a while. Why don't the couples eat at the one-on-one dates? Well, that's actually because of Jesse's season. Because when he was the Bachelor, he would eat a lot. He ate so damn much that he was in the middle of the day talking with food in his mouth, stuffing his face, which it's funny, but it makes sense as to why, for the sake of the show, they stopped feeding them. So that was just a fun little trivia. As far as Jenn, she says that she's starting to feel like she is somewhat these guys' girlfriend. So she's she's actually looking forward to seeing them. So she goes to meet out with them outside. She's talking to them as a group. And then she says that she's ready for a one-on-one date. And that's going to be going to Sam M. So they get going right away. They go to the top of this super high building. So as much sexual chemistry as they had, or as they have, I should say, seeing them sitting down here trying to have a conversation, there's not too much there that goes really beyond the surface level. So as they're in the building, you can see some people from the window jumping down. They're literally falling down off the building. Because there is some jumping stuff that you can do in this building. So a guy who works in the building says, you all can go on top of the roof, and y'all can do a little walk on the top, or y'all can jump if you want. So Sam takes the initiative and says, yeah, we will both jump. Now, Jenn from the very beginning said that she didn't want to do it. But this guy was saying, oh, no, we're doing it. Definitely, we're doing it because in 50 years, we're going to remember this and you're going to be thankful. So she's starting to get a little annoyed. So for now, they go to the roof. They get dressed and they begin to get strapped onto wires and chains. So what they're doing is what they call the skywalk. So what you do is that instead of jumping, you're walking around the entire building, but on the outside. And it's 630 feet up in the air. Jenn was not enjoying a single moment. She looked like she was having a bit of a panic attack. And this guy's up there asking, can you give me a kiss? So Jenn is starting to feel that Sam isn't really caring for how she's feeling at the moment. He's not really reading her. Then she starts to cry. He hugs her. And after all that drama, then she jumps. So I was like, really? Yo, you did all that and you still ended up jumping? The fall looked terrifying, but she felt so much better after landing, obviously. Okay, so then it is much later. The men love the rooms that they're staying in, and they receive a group date card, which is for Spencer, Marcus, Grant, John M., Austin, Jonathan, Dylan, Thomas, Jeremy, and Sam N. So the only one whose name wasn't called was my boy Devin, so he was super happy that he's going to be having the second one-on-one date. But going back to this date, it's the night portion of the date with Sam and Jenn. I really liked the setup because it was romantic, it was outdoors. So Jenn says that she's very afraid to have her partner stop working on the relationship and that, she's just the one working on it. She asks him what he wants in a relationship and he says that he wants a wild, passionate love and someone who chooses you all the time and never gives up on working on the relationship. Then she opens up about her parenting parents being divorced and how that trickled down to her feeling that she wasn't worthy. She gets emotional and says that in other relationships she hasn't really been able to express herself and some of the traumas that have come from her childhood. Of course, Sam makes her feel better. Then he talked about his previous relationship that was him being engaged, and when the fiance called it off, he did some digging and found out that he was being cheated on. He says that when there's someone that he loves, there will literally be no bridge that he won't cross, and that he would go to the ends of the world for that person. And Jen loved this conversation, so she offers him the rose. He accepts it, and then they make out very, very, very passionately, to the point where she was almost on top of the damn table while they were making out. She even goes as far as to say, Jen goes as far as to say, you guys, that she's falling for Sam in her confessional. Listen, I don't like Sam. I think he's being a player. I think he's a good player because Jen fell for everything that he said to her. Alright, so then it is a new day. It's time for the group date. Jen meets the men out in a huge field, and then they are met by a group of people, the Maori people, I think that's what their name is, and they are, I think natives from New Zealand, and they do a dance that's traditional. But then they play rugby. I don't know if that was related, but the guys begin to practice, and it looked like the guys are going to play hard to impress. So my boy Sam, the Iranian, is trying super hard to make himself noticeable today, and he's going out of his way to do little things with Jen. And I mean, good for him, I guess. Oh my gosh, you guys. Then we see the hotel. Ain't nothing better in the Bachelor franchise than forcing people who can't stand each other to sit next to one another in the hotel room. So, this crazy man, Sam, says to Devin, I never talked about you. My name don't come out of my mouth because I don't respect you and you're not worth my time. I was just sitting there like, excuse me? Sam has been talking about Devin for 3 weeks straight. What is he talking about? That's some crazy stuff right there. And like, that should give it, like, if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. But you know what? Devin is unbothered and he's always going to defend himself. But going back to the date, the rugby game begins. And like I said, they are playing hard. The tackles were crazy. The most aggressive was definitely my buddy Sam. He was determined. Now, he was doing a little too much. Like, he wrote Jen's husband on the back of his jersey. The blue team won, which is the one he was in. And then Sam grabs Jen after they win and carries her away. But again, I guess all is fair. So it's later that night. It's the night portion. And all of the group is getting so angry at Sam. Listen, I get it. He's a little bit of cringy. He was... They went all into the night portion, and Sam was like walking so voraciously, and he was carrying the damn trophy, and he brought a jersey with him. And actually, there was a little moment between Marcus and Sam about like who's gonna sit where, and that definitely made me believe the Reddit post about Marcus. If you know, you know. So Sam is quick. He's the first one to ask Jen to go talk, and the shirt that he brought was actually for Jen, and he wrote in it Sam's wife. Now, the thing that bothers me about all of this is that the guys all making fun of him for his lack of experience. They call him a boy. Never been in love, he doesn't deserve Jen, and I don't think that's their place to say that. But the conversation that he had with Jen went pretty well. Then Jonathan did something very creative. He brought some lacrosse equipment because they both used to play, and Jen definitely loved that. She had a lot of fun, and she kissed him after that. She also had a great chat with Grant, and they kissed a lot as well. So then the guys decide to quote unquote school Sam. Now, I find it hilarious that they're the ones calling him a boy and he's so immature, but they're the ones complaining about a guy carrying a trophy, walking fast, and bringing a jersey. Who gives a damn? Like, that's really what y'all call disrespectful? So, Marcus apparently got a little hurt in the game, and Jen brought her stethoscope with her and pretends to like check his heart or whatever, and she's asking him if he's okay, and he says yes, it hurt him when he got tackled, but he's been through worse. She says that she just wants to check up on him because she knows that he went through a lot, and when he was going through that, he didn't have a lot of people with him. He was pretty much going through that alone. I thought that was very nice of Jen. He still seems a little too closed off at this stage in the game. I'm gonna need him to start becoming a little bit more vulnerable. Oh my gosh, you guys. Then this little boy named Thomas takes Sam outside. and I got a bone to pick with you. Why hasn't someone kicked Thomas's little butt? So, listen, he's a joke of a man. He seems to be more interested and more concerned in what the men are doing versus his time with Jenn. It's kind of embarrassing. So, he did it to Devin. Now he's doing it to Sam. But Sam pretty much like put him in his place. He does eventually make his way to Jenn. And, Thomas is talking about his parents because they are from Vietnam as well. So are Jenn's. But then Sam interrupts and says, "Hey, Jenn, can I have a moment with you?" And Thomas is like, "Can you give us 5 minutes?" And Sam's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, you staying on business." Now, this was embarrassing, y'all. Sam says to Jenn, "I think it's time we take this to the next level. So, Jenn, can I kiss you?" And Jenn pretty much tells him no. She doesn't think that there's anything there. So, he needs to go home. Damn. Y'all, I had so much secondhand embarrassment, like it wasn't even funny. But this was gonna happen. Listen, I think his biggest disadvantage was coming in on night one and saying that he's never been in love. He shouldn't have said it. Like, it just, unfortunately for some people, it makes them have a weird perception of you if you say it. But he's a grounded man, a family man, a man of faith and tradition. And this wasn't really his setting. So I hope that he finds a woman who is equally yoked and as high value as he is. That's all I'll say about that. But it's a horrible way to go out for sure. Jenn then goes inside and tells the guys what happened, and then the rose goes to Marcus for the group day. Okay, so then it's a new day and it's time for Jenn and Devin's one-on-one day. So they're outdoors. There's more dancing and celebration like the other day. And here they basically go to this place and they're learning more about the culture of these people, and it's very fascinating. They share about where they come from, and then they kind of ask Devin to say where he's from, and he says that his dad is from Mexico. So he immigrated to California. He ultimately, Devin moved to Houston with his mom, and him and his mom are very close. And then they did some more singing, dancing, and some rituals. When they went outside, Jenn opens up about her culture, which we all know is Vietnamese, but there was definitely a time when she didn't know how to feel about her culture because she was kind of trying to balance the Vietnamese and being American, but she has become more connected with her Vietnamese culture as the years have gone by. And she really wants her children to embrace the traditions as well. She also says that her parents are Buddhist. That's interesting. Now, I wonder how that will go with whoever she ends up with because this isn't about me, but this is my commentary. So I'll say I could have the perfect person, but if they don't worship the God that I worship, who I believe is the one and only, I don't. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to be with a person who doesn't believe that. So that's a huge thing. So whoever she ends up with, that's definitely going to be something important to talk about. So then, much later, it's the night portion of the date. They're at this theater. And here's the thing. Devin really loves his mom. And he appreciates all the things that she's done for him. So he basically goes into more detail. Because Devin was made out of a fling. And because his mom and dad kind of just hooked up. And once the mom got pregnant, she kind of had to drop out of college and just dedicate her entire life to take care of him and his brother. He was being very vulnerable. And of course, Jenn relates having her mom, and they both of their moms needed to step up and be both parents at once. And, it shows that coming from a broken household clearly affects kids, whether people want to admit it or not. Devin does ask Jenn if she would like to have any sort of relationship with her dad in the future. And she says that he's never really wanted to even try to be a dad. And one time she actually spoke her mind to him. And ever since that, he stopped talking to her. So probably not. But it was a great day. And they really did peel such a huge layer of who they are just by sharing where they come from and what their experiences have been. And Devin tells her that he's falling in love. No, he didn't say in love. He said he's falling for her. But that's still huge, and Jenn was blushing a lot. It was nice. So she then gives him the rose. He accepts it, and they kiss. And even by the kiss, you can see the difference between a kiss that's just of lust, like the one she had at the beginning of the episode, versus this one, which was a kiss that was like from love. Alright, so then it's a new day. It'll be the cocktail party later that day. Jenn is walking out in the city, and something happened. So Jesse explains to us that some guy from Jenn's past reached out to the producers. He flew himself in to New Zealand with his own dime, but apparently only Jesse and the producers know. I honestly thought that it would probably be Aaron or some other guy that has already been eliminated from this season. But no, this is a guy that Jenn actually dated, and they dated for about like 3 or 4 months, and they were showing the pictures and stuff. He says that he still loves her and that he needs to tell her. So Jesse says, listen, there's a cocktail party tonight, so if this is how you feel, you're gonna have to go have the conversation with her now. She's over there by the bay. So he does just that. He goes up there, and once she sees him, she's very surprised, and she's like, what? Like, how are you here? What's going on right now? Apparently he was in Colombia and he was supposed to be at some wedding, but he says that he realized that he missed her so much and that he's ready to be with her. He says he loves her and is ready to be with her. Like, he would get on one knee right now and propose. So he's willing to join the other guys if it gives him the opportunity to show how much he cares about her. So Jenn doesn't know what to do, and then that was the end of the episode. From the preview, it looks like he will be here next week. My guess, though, is that it'll probably not sit well with most of the guys, and this is just my prediction. We'll come back and obviously see if I was right. I'm gonna guess that he'll be there, but because of how the guys feel, Jenn will ultimately send him home, and she'll probably be like, "Oh, you had this chance before and you didn't," or something like that, something to that effect. So anyway, you guys, let me know what you thought about this episode. Were you surprised? What did y'all think? Please let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. You have a great one. Bye.